Good morning, and thanks for tuning in again to Millennial Diligence. I'm your host, Tom. I want to thank you guys for tuning in this week again and giving amazing responses to all the videos. The responses have been insightful, they've been funny, they've been, heart-wrenching. It's been really great to see what you guys have had to say about these topics. I wanted to start off this week's recap with the 4-day work week video. Top comment. I read somewhere that programmers can stay productive for 6 hours a day max, so 4x10 work week is definitely not for me. It's interesting. I don't think the 4-10s will work for everybody, but I think just to establish the norm of a 4-day work week would be good. So go from the 40-hour 5-day week to the 40-hour 4-day week would be a good step in the right direction for most jobs, and I think it would definitely benefit the work-life balance. I've read some accounts of that 40-hour work week definitely benefiting both the companies and the employees. So there's definitely a little bit to be learned there still. The jobs I have, yes, this has been a major frustration for me. Watching my coworkers waste so much time on their phones, going to the bathroom and smoking breaks constantly and talking to so-and-so. We can get a lot done just in 32 hours a week if we actually just worked that whole time. I agree. I mean, at least in my experience, many of the jobs that I've had, so much of those 40 hours are wasted already. So cutting it back to 32 hours a week and actually working those 32 will boost productivity and work-life balance, and it'll have all these runoff effects, these side effects, these good side effects that we're looking for in today's working world. So yeah, I totally agree here. 40 hours a week, and just think in your mind's eye, you have a regular 9 to 5, how much of that time is completely wasted week in, week out? Haley said, I just can't see the 32-hour actually happening to where everyone's pay is remaining the same. Would it be harder to make the argument for raises or receive overtime with reduced work hours? Would people still be considered full-time employees and receive full benefits? Would it still be 40 hours, but the remaining 8 be mandatory/flex time? Can the company just as easily increase temp or PT positions to reduce the cost of full-time employees on the company? I mean, these are all valid questions, and I think these are the kind of conversations we're going to start having. Like, how would this look heading towards a 32-hour work week? I mean, if it was worth it to the company to do over 32, then I guess they would just pay overtime. They may not like it, but that's where we have to flex our muscle with the working class a little bit. And honestly, it's been sad to see over the course of my lifetime how the working class has basically been gutted. There's no such thing as real collective bargaining anymore. There's no such thing as trade unions. I mean, barely. I mean, there's some trade unions, but the actual regular unions are almost non-existent. So I think this is something that if we decide we want it and we all get on the same page, we're just going to have to push for it. And yeah, they can pay the overtime, or they can just work you 32 hours a week, which is kind of what we're hoping for here. Moving on to the Millennials Retiring with 500K video. This is a video that was based on an article that basically said many millennials are planning on retiring on $500,000. And I just wanted to pose the question, is that feasible? Would that be feasible if, say, you retired into a minimalist lifestyle? We're talking a meager existence. Could you subsist on $500,000? And I loved your responses here as well. James said, I have the mindset to live off very little when I reach an older age, as I do now. But who knows what is held in the future for this country. I'm not optimistic so far, but if the Lord does tarry, I'm not sure what that means, till we make past 50, I'll still be frugal, God bless. So his idea is to establish frugal and minimalist habits before he retires, and then it'll be less of a jarring transition when he gets to retirement. Josh Piper coming in with another clutch comment. He says, I think you're right. Younger people are going to have to redefine their expectations for retirement. I still think it's possible to have a traditional type retirement with a paid off house and a decent standard of living through investment income, but that will likely require 25 plus years of discipline and not having children, buying new cars, or vacationing often. So I think that's what it's going to have to come down to. You can either live now and just throw caution to the wind, or be disciplined and be careful about every dollar you spend, and then maybe you can have a conventional retirement like the ones that the baby boomers are currently enjoying. I mean, these are the questions we got to ask on this channel as well, and I love this response. Josh runs kind of a similar channel to mine. He's definitely the inspiration for this channel, so I appreciate him chiming in with his thoughts. He closed out his thoughts with, "There's still hope, but in order to make it, you either have to make a really great income or be incredibly diligent and disciplined with an average income." Yeah, like if you're making the average income in the US, which is around $50,000 a year, you have to be so disciplined over the course of years. It can't just be you put away money when it's convenient. You have to put away money every paycheck, have that money earmarked, and do it for decades. So, and I seriously wonder if my generation has that discipline. I question it myself. Here's a common theme I see with a lot of these responses. "I feel like you could, but you'd have to move to a city with a lower cost of living or another country like Mexico." Here's where I can see kind of where that argument works and doesn't work. It's worked historically. The dollar has been very strong over, basically the last 100 years. The post-war period, the dollar's been very strong. My concern is by the time millennials go to retire, will that dollar be as strong overseas as it is now? I think there's some compelling evidence. These BRICS nations, like the global disorder of the financial system, things might get a little patchier, or they might get a little less stable for the US dollar, but we will see. I like the comment, I like the theory behind it, because it'll work today. You could take $500,000 and go overseas somewhere with a low cost of living, and you could probably live out the rest of your days there just on that money. But as trends go, it remains to be seen how good the dollar will be, how strong the dollar will be overseas. Here's one from Murad. "500K at 4% dividend is 20K of dividend income, not including dividend growth and retirement increasing. Not bad, but not a lot of money, but doable. The goal should be to retire off dividends though, so usually most people use the 25 times before tax income rule. You want to avoid taking any more than 4% of your total retirement out per year. This could be a big ask if you're only on $500,000 a year." So I appreciate that comment. It's going to take some serious math to be able to do it, but honestly, given these responses and some of the research I've done, it's possible, but you aren't going to live high on the hog on $500,000. That's just all there is to it, especially in 20 years. I mean, let's say you have 500K in 20 years. It's not going to be worth nearly what 500K is worth now, so that's something to take into consideration. Once again, guys, thanks so much for all your responses. I love seeing everything you guys have to say and going back and forth. I try to respond to every question or every comment. This channel really is designed to get what you guys are thinking, and I just want to get a kind of a barometer on what millennials are going through, what their plans are, and figuring out the best way forward given your circumstances. So thanks so much for tuning in again. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next one.